So, the next question is about universities. In Johannesburg, we know it's mainly Wits and UJ. They're universities all across the country. Um, how should one make that decision? I've heard people saying, I was a great student, pupil in matric or all of high school. I went to Wits and it showed me flames. And then I went to UJ and it wasn't so bad. And another thing I know that Wits sometimes it's like if you went to Wits, you seem to be better than others. And that sometimes pressurizes a student to want to go there because of this reputation. How should one make a decision?
Katlego, that's a very good point. And again, I want to say we're lucky. Social media can be a very, very bad thing. I think most of our youngsters that's been bullied on social media will know that. But it can also be a good thing. You can put in questions there real time. You'll see what others join student groups already in grade 8, grade 9.
Start.
Whatever you start. If you're living in Joburg, join the Wits, join the Joburg University. If you're staying in Pretoria, join Tikkies. Look at all that, see the posts that's coming through. You get real information from students. And the nice thing of that is, if and when you're going, you might already know people. So there's another app that's very useful, and you can download it from the Play Store. I think it's on Android as well as our iPhone. Career Explorer. It's with the Xplora. Career Explorer. Okay. So and that can be it's career advice for everybody. Okay. So that's a useful. Oh, and there's so many resources. But we'll share them as we're going.
Yeah, we'll list them. Still talking about a university, when is the right time to apply and with which results? It might seem like a stupid question to ask, but some people don't know.
Not at all.
And then they wait until it's too late.
Normally in your grade 11 year, by the June, July, that's the best time to apply. That means your results from your grade 11 year, the first semester or the first term. That's going to be the report that they'll take. Okay.
So you need to make sure that it's...
And if I can... But again, a lot of things are changing because there's more online submissions. If you're doing... A lot of the universities doesn't even want the students anymore because then nobody's going to crush each other.
Yeah.
So if you are not computer literate or your parents are not computer literate, make sure before the time that you get somebody that is computer literate, they can take you through that. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I've seen that some of our students experience. It's this great student and
they don't know how to use the resources available, or they don't have the resources available to them. So the sooner you start, the better, especially if you don't know how to or you lack the resources at your disposal.
And again, I'm really working with a lot of the kids that their family just doesn't have that resources, like you said. So now they're thinking, okay, I can go to Postnet or to an internet cafe, but that takes money, which you may not have.
That's so true.
So again, it comes back. Go and volunteer in your time. You might just find your mentor or somebody. But don't wait until the time. The time is there. Start building. So you were asking me what's the right time. I would say from grade 8 already, you need to start being involved in your community. The Nelson Mandela Day, the various things. Know your community there. Who's the NGO? Who's working there? What is your passion? Is that kids? Is that older people? Because through your passion and that community work, you're going to start getting to know yourself a lot more.
That's a very good point. Thank you so much. We know that sometimes after grade 12, yes, you've applied and this was your dream. You wanted to study this, but your result, whether math, physics, biology, business, whatever, maybe accounting because you want to be an accountant, the results are not good enough for you to be accepted for that. What is your take on rewriting subjects and also a bridging course or extended programs?
All right. Well, I'm going to use by way of an example again. Okay. I had this one child. He was accepted at TICS. Everything was ready. Everything. On the day the results came out, he had 2% short for his science. And he was devastated. And what happened then, so at that stage, that specific qualification would have been, I think, 47,000 Rand for the year. The same qualification through UNISA was 14,000.
Oh.
His parents did have the resources, a computer.
Okay.
And remember, the rewrites for matric only happens in May, around May. The March rewrites has been cancelled.
Okay.
So it happens about May, and 2 months later you only get your results.
Yeah, so you're not going to...
So what are you going to do?
In that time.
Okay. So qualifications for me, I always see it like a brick wall.
Okay.
It's bricks. So yes, your whole wall isn't built immediately. But rather than wasting all that time until July, August when your results comes out, why not start doing some of the modules through UNISA? I'm always saying we have to be like water. Water and electricity will find a way. Water and electricity will find a way somehow. And that specific child that I spoke about, it worked out so well for him. He did that year he did his UNISA, he did it online. And then he got a job. Obviously he was a bit lonely. Again, it comes down to values. So this child was really team player, first rugby and head boy and all of that. So being at home alone for him was very difficult. So then he got a job part-time. And the next thing he heard about, through that volunteering, or that job, he heard about another opportunity. And he's now working for a very, very big engineering company that's paying for all the rest of his studies. And he's already working while he's studying. So where the other engineers need to finish and get that practical experience. And he's finding his studies much easier than his friends that did go to TICS. Because he's doing it as he's theory and practice at the same time. So to answer your question, sometimes an obstacle in the way is actually a good thing because it leads you on another way that's that's better scenery. It's not the end of the world.
And you saw it as, oh, I failed, oh, I'm a failure, oh, this is messing up with all my plans, not knowing that this is actually leading you to a better place.
That's scenic route.
Failure is not just failure. Sometimes failure is an opportunity for you to do better, to learn better, to see better opportunities. So if you have failed in matric or whatever grade or level, don't look at it and in a bad way as a bad thing, but see the opportunity in it.
It's not the end of the road. And even if you completely failed, I can tell you've passed some subjects. You've passed some subjects, so perhaps you're rewriting those 2 or 3, and it's going to come up in May. Now, all of a sudden, you don't have 7 subjects or 6
and now
subjects
you can focus more on those 2 or 3. And
focus on those 2 or 3. Start by doing some form of assessment. There's free assessments online as well, Who Am I? Or contact a career coach and start doing some of the subjects, little by little. There's 365 days in a year. If you do one thing every day, you've done 365 days. 365 things.
And that will definitely make a difference, all in all. There you go. Listen to the advice. We're moving now to university. So, what happens when one is already in university? They have already enrolled for accounting or business or whatever it is, and they realize that, no, man, this is not for me. This is not what I thought it is. I just can't. Or I might be able to pass, but I don't belong here. What happens in that situation?
Okay. I think you experienced it.
Yep.
If I might ask, and what did you do?
My thing was... you know what, my mom is a single mom. She's paid the registration. She's paid what she has paid thus far. For me to drop out now is a waste of money for her. So that's one aspect of it. And secondly, if I drop out now, where do I go? Is there an option for me to go to something else? The whole process is just going to be too much. So my thought was, I have to just finish it. When I'm done with this, I'll see what I do after. That's how I went about it.
I want to say I agree with what you did, the answer there. But it may not be the same for everybody.
Everyone.
And that's where the coaching comes in. Depends on your family circumstances. Again, coming back to it, that a qualification is like a little brick wall. So it may be, and there's normally excellent counselors at the universities and at the colleges that we have to make use of that resources.
That's so true.
It may be that some of the bricks in your qualification might be the same building bricks in another qualification. Although there's something else. Every qualification, no matter what you're going to study, you're going to find that there's vegetables on the plate. I don't know about you guys, but normally there's parts of it that's it's not exciting, it's not nice, it's not. So I think that's part of why studies is so important. When I used to appoint people, I did huge projects for some of the state-owned entities. It wasn't always what a person studied. I wanted to see if they had the ability to finish it.
Okay.
And another thing is we don't stay in the same careers anymore. If you think where you are now and what you started studying, it's completely different.
Yeah.
So it's like a foundation for a house. And one of the things that we look at and that prospective employers looks at is, do you have the ability to finish something? So there's a lot of factors to consider, and it will depend on what is the career choice that you want to go in. But again, I want to say the easiest thing is to make the choice beforehand. And if you can go, if you had the opportunity to go and shadow, for instance, a metallurgical engineer, would you have still gone for that?
Would I still have studied it? I don't think so.
No. But again, as you said, you were standing there and you thought, I just have to study something.
Yeah. So maybe doing that would have, let's say, what you were saying about volunteering and starting the relationships. Had I had that, perhaps working and studying would have made it more sense for me, like academically. Maybe it would have helped me enjoy it a bit more, because it's not always difficult to put in the hard work and make sure you pass. You can do that part, but then the enjoyment is not there. So that's what I did. I just made sure I passed. But I wasn't enjoying it. Yeah. But if I can look at the in-service training that I did, I feel like it's a bit more than, it was a bit better than the theory that I experienced in university. Yes. So that could have benefited.
I think each situation will be unique, but I think sometimes we're also pushing ourselves, and I'm really somebody that believes in pushing myself, but aren't we supposed to also enjoy life? Aren't we supposed to enjoy life? Not compete with the Joneses. Perhaps just take that little while, even if you go and study a year later, once you've finished your rewrites or whatever, and you just do short courses in between and view the landscape. You might even do something for a little bit less money. Just get clarity before you jump in there. And like you said, you were standing there, okay, I can't get a place in this, so let me just take something.
Yeah.
I just want to take something.
And this is what I could take.
Yeah.
And
at the end of the day, although having any type of qualification behind you is good.
It's good, it's positive.
But I think sometimes we just need to slow down a little bit before we make these life-changing decisions.
Because in that moment, January, February, when you're making this decision, it feels like if I don't take this, then my life is messed up. I'm wasting time and everything. But then you make the decision, then you waste 3 years of your life studying what you don't like. You get into the work environment, you waste more years working in an environment that you don't like. So it might have been better for you to pause at that moment and say, I'm not going to study this now. I'd rather wait 6 months or a year. Or I guess it differs person by person. And again, we don't know what this decision will lead to.